So first up with the company, I'll sort of tell you very briefly how we started it. So like I mentioned, my partner Leora over there and myself began it in late 2010. So I'm a software developer by trade and Leora is an osteopath. And have been asking me for quite a while to build some software in the allied health industry, where especially at the time it was lacking. And it coincidentally also worked out at the time that I was working in a job I quite disliked. And the final piece of the puzzle was we just got approved by the bank to have a loan against the house to do a renovation, which was really nice. And what we kind of decided after much discussion was rather than renovate the house, we would take that money and I could survive for about a year off it without working, and we would try to build a software product for allied health and hope that we can launch it and be successful enough that I don't need to go get a job at the end of that period and pay off an extra loan. And of course, not tell the bank that's what we were doing because they wanted us to renovate the house with that. So it was in about mid-2011 we finally launched Cliniko. So 6 months into having quit my job and working kind of 9 AM to midnight, 7 days a week, coding in the room of my house, so we got to the point where we had something to launch and hopefully get people to pay for. We did that, and as you would guess, the fact that we're here, it worked out. We had customers start signing up and had a pretty fast growth, way bigger than we kind of ever expected. The initial plan was kind of get 100 businesses to use the system so that we could afford to live off it and keep going. In the end, and like sort of testament to my bad planning, we actually did a lot more than 100 to be able to survive off it, because it turns out there's like business expenses and other things that come up. But we just passed 11,000 businesses that are using Cliniko now, way above our expectations. This photo here is actually our house at the time, and this is maybe a year after we launched Cliniko, and we were hiring 2 people in Melbourne, who's Mel and Jim, that are around here tonight. And we'd knocked out some walls in our house and painted the wall red. The company was called Red Guava. Set up some desks that you can see there, and they came and worked out of our house for a while before we eventually moved into an office. And then, as I'll explain later, got rid of our office. One of the things that I think is a bit defining for our company, I'm doing a bad job of talking into this, sorry. A bit defining for our company is that we're bootstrapped, and what that means, if you're not familiar with the term, is we haven't taken funding. Now, in a healthcare business, that's probably ordinary, but in the software world, there's a lot of funding going around. When there's a new software company and investors think that it might be successful, they like to put some money into it to help you grow, and then hopefully get a big return on that investment later on. So we actually had a pretty interesting thing when we first started Cliniko. In fact, the day we launched Cliniko, I got a phone call through to the support lines. We had a 1-800 number that would go straight to my mobile phone. It looked professional. And I had a phone call from someone who was from a venture capital company, and actually the son of someone that was in venture capital and was also a doctor, and had said to me, I saw the product you just released, we're looking to invest in a product like this. We've been particularly looking for a healthcare product, and would you be open to an acquisition? So whether actually like just buy us out. So this was a surprise day one of launching the system, and like I wasn't really planning on doing anything like that, so quite arrogantly I said to them, look, I wouldn't even discuss anything less than 10 million. And which they responded and said, that's not out of the question, let us have a look around and see what you've got. And they left their email address. And got off the phone from that call and chatted to Laura, and really we hadn't gone into this to take investment or even make a lot of money from it. The idea was to build something really good in allied health. My daughter really loves this story. So to build some good software and do something for allied health. And in the end, about 2 hours later, I sent them an email and said, it's not worth talking, we're not interested. We really weren't in it to have that fast growth, and that maintains. We get a lot of contact from venture capital over time, particularly as we grow, with people that are looking to invest and want us to grow fast. But the problem is when we start to spend someone else's money, and particularly when their focus is growth, we need to start spending on growth. We need to be doing sales and marketing and trying to grow the company fast when our focus is on development and support. And we'd much rather be spending, frankly, money from our customers so that our interests are aligned with them. When we're spending customers' money, then we're working on the things the customers want us to be doing. And I think it shaped a lot of the business that we developed. So we I think we had these original ideas at the start, but maybe we've defined them better over time, and we kind of have 3 goals for the company at this point. So it's make the best software possible, and that's both for our customers, because we appreciate them, they pay our salaries, they're the ones that we're working for, and maybe a little bit selfishly for ourselves, for some pride in our work also. You know, a lot of people in the team have a background in software, or at least by now, a real great desire for software, and we want to make something great and something that we're proud of. We also, and I'll talk a little bit in this talk, and some of you may know if you've seen things about our company before, but we do work in a different way than many companies, and I think in a lot healthier way, better for the people in the team and better for the company. So we're keen to see how that goes, put some limits on that front, hopefully have some, I've got somebody helping me out here, hopefully have some success with it, and then share with other companies that they might also have a look at different ways of working that can be successful. And finally, it sounds a little corny when I write it like this, but we do want to make the world a little bit better. So we do a lot of that via charitable donations, and I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end of this. But it's important for us that the success of Cliniko is also good for the world. So I just want to talk a little bit about the team behind Cliniko. So we have 34 people in the team now. Which seems crazy to me in its own right. You know, we started this, just the 2 of us, and didn't really expect to ever be hiring anyone, and now it's a team of 34. And probably even stranger and unplanned is where our team is located. So I know it's quite hard to read anything on that slide. It was a bad choice to put lots of small font on it. But basically, this is our team that works on Cliniko. You can see we have quite a few in North America and Canada. But I think that one of the things I learned was that if I'm hiring a developer in Melbourne, then the amount of people that are looking for a job at the time I'm hiring, who use the technologies that we do, that are suitable for our company, I might get 10 people apply for that job. Developers are in high demand. Last time we hired developers, we had 450 people apply for that role. Now what that means to us is we get to hire some really good people. When we cast the net so wide and we just don't care where in the world they are, then all of a sudden that's a huge audience, and we care about the quality of people we bring into the team. And I think that being remote and being open to hire someone anywhere in the world is a big enabler for us with it. It also helps a lot for things like support. So we offer customer support, and we've got people working pretty much 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, but no one's working night shifts or anything like that. We have support people in the US, in the UK, in Australia, all around the place. So they're working their own time zones, but we get to cover a big range. So even though obviously I'm guessing everyone here is from Australia, but if you're working 9 or 10 o'clock at night and you've got a question about Cliniko, you probably get Katie, who's in the UK, and she'll be able to answer that for you. So it's a really good thing for our customers as well. As far as our team goes, the breakdown, so you can see here we're very heavy, almost all the team is development and support, and that's our passion like I mentioned earlier on. So you can see we do have one in marketing, which is Kate over there doing the filming. But really from the start, the idea of the company has been build a good product, support our customers, provide great customer service, and rely on word of mouth to help us grow. Now I put not those for the other one. I really struggled for a title for the other people. I thought others was a little disrespectful, and if I put like superstars or something, then other people are annoyed. So I thought not those is fair. Something else about our team, and it's hard to describe to people outside of the company, but people in the team that work on Cliniko really love the work they're doing. They love our customers, and they're inspired to do the work they do. So this was Gina, who joined our support team maybe 6 months ago, just over. And she said, this was just something she wrote in our company chat channel, by the way, not like, from my talk or something, which would be a little contrived. She said, I love the team so much. All of this makes me want to kick ass at my job. It makes me want to help during off hours. It makes me proud to work here, and makes me want to do great work. And this was something she just shared with the team. And I've not worked in a place before where people feel like that and are openly communicating that within the team. But I think the way we work, which I'll jump into a little bit, has helped to cultivate that. So one of the things we do that I think, maybe it's my own personal desire to never go to a meeting, but we don't do meetings in the company. We do all of our communication asynchronous. And that works particularly well for us because we're a remote team, so not everyone's on in the same time zone. So we have a chat thing. We use a program called Slack to talk, and we really just have different rooms for different topics, and we chat all about it in there. We do some face-to-face, so you might be online with someone and say, hey, this will be easier for a quick video chat, and we do those, but we don't have scheduled meetings. One of the things I find for myself particularly is that like a meeting looming really stifles me. So if I've got a meeting coming up at 1 p.m. that day, it's on my mind from the morning. And especially when it gets to around 11 o'clock, it's very hard for me to jump in and do some really good work on something when I know there's an interruption coming. So even if there is something that comes up that we need to talk about, often I find just like right now, an ad hoc talk is the best way to not interrupt productivity at other times. And we found, we kind of didn't set out to do no meetings. We kind of just didn't do them unless they were needed, and then they worked. But I think that in hindsight, it's really good. It's a lack of interruptions. And I remember working in an office with people previously, and meetings were a killer. You spend a lot of time in these meetings when often a simple email could have taken care of it. Another bad thing I found about meetings was if you set half an hour meeting and you book out a room or something, then you're going to spend that half an hour because it's a half an hour meeting. And you might talk for 2 minutes and have solved the problem that you had, but then you'll buffer it out and do something because everyone made the trouble to come to the meeting. Whereas when we're actually just discussing problems and solving them, then I think we don't have that wasted time. We also have no managers in the company, which when there was like just 2 of us was fair enough. But as we grow up to 34 people now, I think it's becoming interesting. And the main reason around that, there are a couple of ideas around it, but primarily it's the autonomy that the team have and the fact that we hire really good people that care about their work, want to do their work, and they don't actually need people giving them work or tracking that they're doing their work. I believe that people intrinsically like to do good work. I don't think people go into work for the day and have a crappy day where they procrastinate and don't get much done or don't have successful outcomes with a patient or whatever it might be and come home at the end of that day and feel like, what a great day. That was fantastic. I think the satisfying days is when you actually solve some problems, you did some great treatments, you improved your business in some way, whatever it is. So I don't think we need someone prodding people to do so. I don't think we need to hang a carrot in front of them. And in fact, often I think that the carrot can be counterproductive. I think actually getting good people, making sure they understand, the purpose of your business, why they're working on it, giving them the support they need, can be more effective than actually putting someone above them that's tracking it. And sometimes I think that when you put a manager there as well, it takes away the accountability from the person. So if you just have to hit certain KPIs that your manager gives you, well now you're focused on those KPIs as opposed to maybe what your job's really about. And it's very hard to develop a set of KPIs that encompass everything you need to do. But if you have these KPIs and potentially even a performance bonus based on these KPIs, well that's going to be your focus. And I think you can move away from all the little bits that you should actually do in your company. And I think as well, you'll probably find if you interact with Cliniko, most people here I believe are using it. If you talk to our support team are completely empowered and knowledgeable. They don't have a team lead above them. They're all just very capable people that understand Cliniko well and are able to help you out with whatever problem you have. They don't need someone's approval, they don't need to escalate it to the next level, anything like that. They can just get the job done. And I'm guessing if you use our support, you might have noticed as well. The other thing we have in our team is flexibility, which I think is like a funny thing that we don't have in business these days. So the way we work is people choose their own hours they work, they have unlimited annual leave. People overseas, like our developers, we don't do timesheets, we don't actually track how much they work. We aim for a 30-hour week rather than 40, but even with that, we're not actually watching and we don't think that hours are the most important thing. If you're a customer of Cliniko and one of our developers spends 30 or 40 hours in a week developing, that's pretty meaningless. If they launch a new feature that you've been really waiting for, that's important. So I think the actual work they're getting done as opposed to the time they spend doing it is the more important thing. So we don't track the time, we worry about the work that's getting done and that's what we focus on, not necessarily the effort that went into it. And I think that when you hire people that enjoy their work, like the work they're doing, care about our customers, we don't need to arbitrarily tell them this is how much leave you can take, these are the hours of the day you need to work or anything like that. They'll sort that out. They're adults, they're passionate about what they're doing and they've got integrity, so they're just going to work well if we sort of get out of their way. The other thing we do being a remote team is we do team meetups, and I think this is critical for us as a remote team. So we want to feel connected. We don't want people in our team to feel like a contractor or like they're working on their own. So we do stuff ongoingly through the year, but also once or twice a year we'll do a team meetup. We have either people coming out to Australia for a meetup over here, or every couple of years we try to meet up somewhere in the world to get together and just hang out so that the team, they're friends with each other, they work well together, they like each other. I think that's critical to have them helping each other, and it's harder with a remote team, but for us I think the meetups are a key part of it. And I'm referring of course to our team meetups as opposed to one night tonight. So I want to cover also a little bit of things we're working on, because I know people want to know what things we're working on. So I had a look recently, and because you can obviously see the first one, I shouldn't give that away because you can see it. So I had a look to see what things we're actually working on at the moment. Now I know a lot of them because obviously I'm involved in the business, but not all of them. And the way we work with the flexibility, developers can go and grab something and work on it. If they see a support ticket that someone needs something improved, or they know something needs to be solved, they can just go and do it. They don't need a manager, they don't need to be allocated to do so. So I did need to go have a look and see what is everyone working on at the moment so I can share with you. And when I had a look, there was 109 changes in progress going for Cliniko. And to provide some context, so we actually release, and you probably don't see it, but we release more than 6 updates per day on Cliniko every day. We're going live while you're working on it. Now, a lot of times it could be bug fixes, it could be performance enhancements, security updates, or features that are going out. But a lot of that is also around the fact, and it's kind of, I think it gets taken for granted, and it should, is that we want to make sure Cliniko is fast for you. We want to make sure you're not getting errors when you click a button and that it does what you expect. And in a complicated system like Cliniko, and with a lot of people using it, that requires effort. So that requires these updates that we're doing and our commitment to making sure there's a good experience when you're actually using the product. So when I looked through, like I said, there was 109 things on the go, and I thought that's too much for a very quick talk. So I pulled out, I think I've got 3 that are our top 3 things we're working on at the moment, but there's a lot more obviously on the go. So you would never guess it, Medicare is coming up. So this is probably one of our most requested features to be worked on. So we're getting very close on it. I think we want to go into a beta with it in the next week or 2. We're really close for that part of it, but we're pretty confident we'll have it rolled out and finished very nicely around mid-October. And that's going to include tracking cases for chronic disease management, so your 5 per calendar year, and we'll also include storing your referral letters in Cliniko as well to feed that straight through to the claim to make it very quick and easy to do. If you're not aware, so we have some HiCaps integration with MediPass at the moment, and the Medicare integration will come through them as well, but we'll release more details on that shortly. I only say that because we've got Medicare coming, there's going to be some other HiCaps work coming out, and also NDIS, DBA, and a few others in the pipeline. So if you don't know much about MediPass, there's Ringo over in the back corner there in the green jumper. We can have a chat to him tonight if you're interested to find more from the MediPass side. We've got payments for online bookings coming. So this will primarily be for people that aren't doing like a HiCaps or a Medicare thing, because this is going to be paying in advance for a treatment. But you'll be able to book in a bank account details into Cliniko, and you'll be able to capture the price of your appointment at the time that they book and require them to pay at that moment as well, and have it go straight through to your bank account. So that one's also in progress. I don't know exactly how long. I'm guessing it's 1 to 2 months away, but it's getting pretty close and again heavily requested. And the other one for people that are already using Cliniko may be less exciting, but as you might have seen if you follow us on social media or anything, so we recently acquired a company called Connect, which actually is kind of just Hagen, who's over here, and he's on our team now. So he's been doing a lot of work with a lot of companies to bring their data across into Cliniko and migrating them from other systems. And that's something we want to offer within Cliniko. So we've got a pretty big project on the go now to make it much easier for you to move from other systems to Cliniko, potentially Cliniko to Cliniko if you're moving between accounts or things related to it. So that's at the way at the moment. So they're probably, I'd say, our top 3 things, although there's a lot of little tweaks happening and there's some other bigger things on the go as well. I want to talk a little bit about charity at the end, because like I mentioned, it's kind of a big part of the focus of our company. So we, from the start, we actually were doing 1% of subscriptions we're getting donated to charity. And in the first month, I think that was, I don't know, maybe $9 or something like that. And it felt okay, like we can afford this. And as the company's grown, we've maintained it. At the start of this year, we changed that up to 2% because we were able to do so. And we've been working with some charity, like one particular charity, we've got a pretty close relationship now, and it's quite compelling to us. So that's, before I jump to that charity, so far, what that actually means is that we've given $370,000 across the charity since we launched, which we're very proud of. So the main one that we're contributing to the moment is called Beyond the Orphanage. So they started off supporting kids that have gone through the orphanage and no longer had support in Ethiopia, but they managed to set up such a good program there that they kind of weren't needed anymore. So they ended up moving out and they've moved into Nepal, where they're doing most of their work at the moment, and they're doing work with trafficked children, and they do phenomenal work. So we're actually giving about 2.5% of our subscriptions to them at the moment, mostly because we can't do enough for them we see firsthand, we talk to their founder, they're a very small charity, and we see the impact it's having, and it's fantastic. And we even have Rachel from our team. Does anyone know Rachel on our team that does the videos on Facebook? If you follow us on Facebook, I'm sure she would be memorable. So she's actually out in Nepal at the moment because we just started a new program on top of the 2% we've been doing, where we're bringing in computers for all the children that they have in the program there, and bringing in some training and software and things like that to help them skill up on the IT side. So we're doing a fair bit of work with them at the moment, other than just contributing some funds. The other one we're looking into at the moment, so we're obviously starting to be helping these children in need, but we want to do something for the environment also. That may not be this exact charity here, there's a few around that do it, but there's a lot of charities that are planting trees, and we're also looking to build into Cliniko a way for Cliniko customers to also contribute. So we're thinking of building a function to Cliniko and working a little bit towards it, where you might decide we want to plant 1 tree per appointment we have in our clinic, which costs about 10 cents per tree that's planted. So you can choose that setting in Cliniko, decide to donate a tree or plant a tree for every appointment you have. And at the end of the month, we'll collect that money from you, we'll take care of the processing fees and pass it along to the charity for you to make it really easy for you to contribute as well if you tend to do so. And I think that can be not only a good thing to do for the environment, but also good for your practitioners in your team to know that for every time they have an appointment, a tree gets planted. Good for your patients and clients that are coming into the clinic to know by choosing your clinic, trees are getting planted. I think there's a lot of wins to be had from it. So we're working on implementing that at the moment, and that'll be something you can opt into within Cliniko. We're also looking to contribute ourselves towards a fund like this, and we're exploring the option at the moment of building a sort of carbon neutral calculator for healthcare clinics, so you can actually work out how many trees do you need to plant per appointment to offset your emissions as well. So that's stuff we'll talk about a little bit more in future. That's all I have for you. I think I have time for a couple of questions. Otherwise, I'll be around all evening and come and chat to me.